Do we know the full story on this thing?
Pretty much they've owned it since original.
Uh-huh.
In the last year and a half, it just got worse and worse and worse.
Hey guys, I'm back here over at Cassone's RV in Mesa, Arizona. We're looking at this Apex travel trailer, which has a laminated subfloor that's pretty common in these ultralights. So ultralight like that is just a way of saying that they don't weigh a lot. So this is a 2016 27-foot coach. Because of this construction, it's a little bit lighter than a normal 26-foot trailer would be, and it's kind of a plague that I've been seeing a lot lately. Let's take a look at it and I'll try to explain what's going on. I don't know if you guys can see, they have most of the inside out, including the refrigerator and all the cabinetry, and what happens is the floor gets really soft and it feels like there's water damage to it, but the problem is not that there's water damage, the problem is that it was built poorly. So in order to save weight, they decided not to put any strong framing on the floor or any thick plywood on the floor. So you can see how thin this plywood is. And I don't know if you can see, I should not have been able to pull this off because that should have been glued down to this foam, because the foam is the structure, not unlike a Winnebago roof. I don't know if you guys can kind of see how much this is flexing. It's hard to imagine, but they came up with this as a method to build a floor with no support whatsoever. So this is basically a SIP made out of, or a structural insulated panel made out of, man, that's 2 layers of 1/8 inch paneling, right? So we'll call that 1/4 inch plywood. And that's what you're walking on. And what generally happens, it holds up to moderate use, but if you live in them for a while, the normal paths that you're walking in, like at the entry door and especially in the kitchen to the bathroom area, it starts getting really, really soft. So I don't know if you guys can see, they've ripped out all the cabinetry that would have been right there. There'd be an island, no, countertop that would have gone all the way across right there, come out right here. That's where the furnace would be, the water heater, and refrigerator. And the glue lets go. Well, not the glue, but the foam compresses, and what was bonding this paneling to the subfloor, what was bonding the plywood to the styrofoam, no longer is holding up. And I don't know if you can see right here too, they seam the foam right in the middle too. And so the whole thing just starts getting really, really weak, and it just feels like the floor is rotten from water damage. But like I said, Coachmen's not the only one doing this. There's a few manufacturers out there doing this. I don't know if they're still doing this, but having styrofoam in the subfloor theoretically does make it strong and insulated, but 1/4 inch paneling and the glue is not enough to hold up to that kind of abuse walking down, up and down on it. Manufacturers just go ahead and tell you, well, you're not supposed to live in it full time. You violated the terms of your warranty, and they're not going to fix it. Or insurance company says, well, it's rotten, we don't cover neglect, so we're not going to fix it. So basically the owner gets stuck with a almost useless RV. Man, it's just so squishy. I'm honestly kind of afraid to walk. I'm going to try to, I can kind of feel right here. This is a trailer, so it has a ladder frame, so it has 2 frame rails on each side, and I can kind of feel right here that I'm walking on that frame itself that you can see on the outside when you look at a trailer. Here's that framing members themselves that I was talking about. You can see from the outside the ladder frame, but you can see the span in between this support and that support. This is the bottom side of that SIP, so they put Darko material on some 1/8 inch paneling, then the styrofoam, then that 1/4 inch paneling on top. So that's what's supporting all the weight on these RVs. And there is definitely one structural member right here. So you can kind of see how the floor dips right here. But you can see that framing that we saw that I was walking on above. This is a pretty rare experience. I've never seen anybody actually go through and fix a travel trailer like this. I've seen it on Class C mini motorhomes, but not on a travel trailer. And it's been a pretty common problem on these. I'm sure if you check forums, they'll have a lot of people complaining about soft floors. And then they've gone ahead and they've cut places, all these channels in, because you can see the actual flooring material right here. They've cut all those channels in so they can put framing in. Because the second problem is that you have the slide out right here, so you can't raise this up. You can't add more thickness to the subfloor, or else the slide out won't come in and go correctly. So it's kind of going to be stuck with the height that it needs to be. So all we can really do is add framing underneath and then put a whole new floor on. Do we know the full story on this thing?
Pretty much they've owned it since original. In the last year and a half, it just got worse and worse and worse. And he did some exploratory underneath. He tried to add some straps.
I saw that strapping underneath.
But the straps don't do anything when there's nothing to attach them to except
Yes.
the foam.
And so obviously warranty's not paying this. Factory doesn't care. Factory said you used it too much.
Yeah, it says normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
Normal for it to
You should walk on that again.
This section.
That's normal. It's a spongy.
It's like a springboard. Well, in this area.
Normal. This is normal.
Yeah.
Huh. Brilliant.
It'll be normal by the time we're done.
It's pretty impressive what you guys take on.
It's unfortunate we have to do it.
No, just not just unfortunate. I don't think I would have been brave enough to do this.
Oh.
But I don't have Chad skills.
Done it before, so.
Yeah, I know. It's not just on Coachmen. I think Heartland does it too, right?
And also Thor.
And Thor.
I've done one of these on a Thor citation. That was just as bad, if not a little worse.
Yeah, and yeah.
At least this one does have the steel framing of the actual frame. And
yeah, that citation did not have that.
No, it was 100% foam.
Yeah.
This one has there's a piece of trailer frame right here. So it's only going to be spanning 6 feet of the aluminum.
Right. But also, that citation had Phylon, right? It didn't have paneling. It didn't even have subfloor,
yeah,
right?
It had Phylon.
It was just
with linoleum attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, what else do you need?
There was actually no wood at all. Underneath the foam was Darko.
Right.
So that even had less structure than this does.
It's ridiculous.
If you call it structure.
I don't call this structure.
It's
this
like wall paneling.
But it's still supposed to be engineered for.
They also didn't even run the foam all over the wall on this side. They gapped it 3.5 inches.
Really?
Yeah.
That didn't fall out. Oh, you're right. The foam doesn't go right there. Well, that's under the cabinets. The installations is in the cabinets at that point.
Yeah, you don't need it, right?
I mean, maybe that still would have reduced its strength. So the guys are going to be having their work cut out for them. I don't know if I'll be able to follow them to completion, what they're going to do. But that's just an absolute shame. This is a 5-year-old coach. This is 2021, and it needs a whole new subfloor and be rebuilt. So that might be another thing to look at when you're looking about buying RVs. You wouldn't think you'd have to check and make sure the floor was built right, because this is it. You have the frame, then they put the subfloor, or then they put the floor on, and then they build the trailer after that. So to change out the floor on a trailer is a very rare experience. I don't always try to show you guys bad things, but I do want you to be aware of what is out there and what you should be aware of, especially when you're getting at these ultralights. I would try to take a look at the subfloors and see if they're loose in the normal high traffic area, especially if they're a few years old already. I wish they were built better than that. I'm sorry, guys. It's kind of hard for me to believe that a manufacturer gets away with building something like that by blaming the owner for using the RV, but that's what they've been doing. Like I said, a lot of them will point out their warranty and say these are not meant to be lived in full time, and then they'll blame you for using an RV as a house. But I'll try to keep over here as often as I can, keep a look on what they're doing on that build. Maybe I'll ask them to take some pictures as they're doing it. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully we all learned something. Underneath, let me see if I can't show you guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and guess what?
What?
None of these cabinets come through the door.
Well, without taking them apart.
We had to pull the door out just to get the refrigerator out.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Refrigerator wouldn't fit.
Didn't even notice the door wasn't installed. Trailer, which has a laminated